right? And John, he bullied everybody in like a very run-of-the-mill way. Like this was very standard bullying, like slap the books out your hand. What's that? Your nose, blow, right? And I think one of the reasons we let him get away with it wasn't just because he was a little bit bigger than all of us, but his voice changed first. And it changed so young, we didn't know what to do with that. Like, we didn't know that was coming for the rest of us. So then John would just walk up like, give me your homework. And I'd be like, that sounds like the devil. So, because I'm not equipped with holy water today, you gonna get this math homework. And there was another kid in our class, Reeve. And Reeve, I'm not gonna say he didn't have any friends, but Reeve had friends for like 20 minutes at a time because Reeve was one of the singular most annoying people I'd ever met in my entire life. It was almost to the level of a skill or a talent. It was absolutely insane. As an example, right? Reeve loved anime. And that's fine. I love anime too. But Reeve loved anime in a way that I didn't love anime because I at least know anime not real. Reeve loved anime to the point where he was letting it affect how he runs. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like he could never do anything regular. He had to do it anime every time. He could never just turn around. He had to be like, you ask Reeve a question, he doesn't know the answer. He can't just think about it. He has to go, It's like, as a fellow anime lover, I'm like, dog, chill. You making us look bad. Stop. Please. Oh, it was insane. And one day, we were at lunch, and Reeve was trying to make his carton of milk explode, right? You know, with his powers. And so he holding his hand over the carton of milk, not touching it, holding it over. Nothing happening because it's not real. He finally gets so tired of waiting for the powers to activate that he grabbed the milk, squeeze it, drop it, and go, I did it. No, I did it. Y'all just didn't see it when I did it. But yeah, no, I did it. Ooh, I got it. Now, when he picked it up and he crushed it, milk went everywhere. And a lot of milk just spurted out and landed all over John. And John stood up, turned around, walked up to Reeve, towering over him, and was like, you got milk on me. We gonna fight later. And never before in my young life had I been so excited for violence. Because as word spread, people were taking sides. They were like, no, John gonna kill Reeve. And we're like, no, Reeve weird. I bet you he gonna scratch him to death. Like he has that X factor. We might be able to get rid of both of them at the same time. And so after school, we gathered around in a little circle in front of the two of them. They're about to fight, right? And John is like lumbering back and forth. And we knew John was strong, but he also, he moved slow. And he was moving slow pre-fight. He was just stalking back and forth like Mike Tyson in the early 90s, just like ready to do something terrible, right? And then on the other side of this imagined ring, Reeve is using his pre-fight time to power up. I've watched a lot of anime, and I've never seen what this child did next. Because to power up, the first thing he did was let his knees buckle. What is this? What power are you drawing from the earth right here like this? This doesn't make any sense at all. He over here, knees buckle, arms out. This is not how you power up in any anime. This is how you fall down the stairs if you a slinky. All right? And this boy here, like this, doing the power up yell. Oh! And then the fight starts, and the fight starts with Reeve attacking John, right? Coming right at him, but he coming at him in the power-up stance. So he over, oh! And admittedly, John didn't know what to do. He really was like, oh! And so they start fighting, and kind of what we thought was gonna happen happens. John is big, he's strong, but he telegraphs all his punches, and he's slow. Boom, but he's missing, right? And Reeves attacks. Reeves' attacks have a lot of energy to them. That's not really going anywhere. Like, instead of punching, he over here, yeah! And so he's fast enough getting out of John's way, but he's not doing any damage. And so John over here punching air, and Reeve over here throwing air. So it's not really a fight. But I really was gathered around all those people, shoulder to shoulder, watching two of them go at it like fight, 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 fight. First time in my life. Fight, 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 fight. So when I think about Elon and Trump, right? It's like it's like one of the most insane bouts I've ever watched take place in my life. In case you haven't heard, Elon and Trump are fighting. And it's like Christmas came early and twice. Like, the only person calling for peace is Kanye West. That's crazy. It's crazy. And we knew that this thing was bound to happen, you know? Because you have to think of who Elon is as a person and who Trump is as a person, right? And it's wild because one, richest man in the world, one, most powerful man in the world and everything, but they had a shaky alliance from the start because I don't think we gave Trump in the moment enough credit for how nice he was being to Elon. He was very nice to Elon. You know? Because Elon, weird. Wait. Elon weird, and Trump didn't say anything about it the entire time, acting like he didn't see it. Like, that's not who he is as a person. Trump is a natural bully. Like, that's what he does, you know? And he was very nice to Elon by omission. I'm not just talking about what he said, because Trump is always using superlatives if he likes you. If he likes you, you're the best, smartest, most amazing that's ever done it, right? That's how he speaks. But he was nice to Elon by what he didn't say. Because you gotta remember, Donald Trump is the same man who roasted the supreme leader of North Korea to his face. I don't don't know if y'all remember, it was like 2018 or something, and Kim Jong-un and him met up to have dinner and like talks and stuff like that, and there was a photographer there taking pictures of both of them before they sat down for the dinner, and Trump turned to the photographer and was like, "You making us all look nice and handsome and thin?" A lot of people think Kim Jong-un doesn't speak or understand English. He understands English. He consumes a lot of American media. And Kim Jong-un was even standing there like, did he? He know I kill people, right? Like, oh, that same guy was very nice to Elon. And he was nice to Elon by omission because Elon jumped in front of Trump. You saw the jump. The world saw the jumps. Trump invited Elon on stage, and Elon walked on stage like, this man showed bottom belly in front of Donald Trump. This grown man showed full belly button, broad daylight in front of Donald Trump, and Trump said nothing. Acted like he didn't see it. Just let that dude start talking right after. That was wild. You know, Elon jumped because he was excited. And he was excited because what was about to happen had never happened before. Never before, right? Obviously, Elon, richest man in the world, and as long as there's been money infused in politics, the wealthy have had a ton of influence. That's nothing new. What was about to happen was unprecedented. This rich man was about to actually get to go in the government himself. No back channels, no liaisons. He was going to go in the government himself. He was going to end every investigation into him and his companies. He was going to fire everyone investigating. He was very excited. And I guess he was more excited than any president we've ever had because all of our presidents have kept their feet on the ground the entire time. There's no old footage of Kennedy like, it doesn't exist. There's no portrait of Thomas Jefferson like, no, get the one where he was getting air. That was... This man jumped in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon laughed in front of Trump. As someone who has traveled the world and continues to travel the world, making people laugh, I've heard all types of laughs. And believe me when I tell you, Elon laughed like he throwing up. Watch any interview Elon does where he makes a joke, because only he will get it, and then he starts laughing, and he's just sitting there like, you know, it's because it's comedy. It's funny with jokes. This man laughed in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon danced in front of Donald Trump. Elon danced like... Elon danced like he gotta look at each body part first to give it permission to move. Like, it is truest that he'll be there. In front of Donald Trump. And Trump didn't say a word. That's like sitting Eminem down in front of a yacht going 40 knots, holding 30 thoughts who are each holding bulbs that are 20 watts, and he can't rap about it at all. That's his whole thing. wild that he's not saying anything. He is being very nice to Elon. And I knew it wasn't gonna hold. Everybody knew it was gonna fall apart. We didn't know when, but we knew it was a short-lived alliance. And it was short-lived, in my opinion, for two reasons, all right? The first one is that you cannot ever watch someone treat everyone terribly and think that that doesn't mean they'll do the same thing to you under the right conditions. You know what I mean? And I should be clear here. I'm not talking about someone who has a bad day, someone who's in a bad way at the moment. We're all human. People have bad days. I'm talking about someone who, by and large, treats people terribly, but is nice to you. It's only for right now. As soon as you're in the position the other people are in, they'll treat you the same way. And if you don't think so, you're a fool. And both of them, without exception, think that they are the exception. Oh no, I've seen him scream at everybody and, treat them like trash. It won't happen to me though. All right? One has the most money in the world. One has the most power in the world. But neither one of them have respect for anybody. And the three things that men like them seek, and I think that they seek them because maybe they're the only things that they care about, or maybe they truly believe that if they get these three or enough of them, everything else will fall into place. But men like these men are obsessed with money, power, and respect. You can't have all the money in the world, you can have all the power in the world, but a lot of people conflate fear with respect. And they're not the same thing. You can be afraid of what someone could do to you with all of their money. It doesn't mean you respect them. You can be afraid of what someone can do to you with all of their power. It doesn't mean that you respect them. And you know it because as soon as the money is gone, the respect is gone. As soon as the power is gone, the respect is gone. And there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people I've known growing up in my life, men that I looked up to who did not have any money. And they didn't have any more power than enough to control themselves, but I respected them because of how they treated people, how they carried themselves. And respect is the one thing, one of many, that can't be bought and it can't be forced. And neither one of them really get that. And they don't respect anyone. So eventually this was gonna come to a head. And I knew it was starting because Elon truly believes, he's even said so, that he bought Trump that election. He spent $250 to $280 million in the election. He believes, look, you lost the last one, you won this one. I'm the difference, I'm the deciding factor. I got you that election. And you're not gonna convince a man like Donald Trump that you got him anything. He's like, that's my base, those are my voters, they like me, they don't like you. You didn't get me anything. I'll gladly take your money, but you didn't get me the election. I got it myself. That was always gonna be a sticking point. And so then Elon took that belief and he took it to a local race in Wisconsin, right? And he was even doing like little $1 million raffles if you vote for the person who wants you to vote for. It was very confusing how it worked. Like I didn't get it at all. And he even went to Wisconsin, was stumping for this person, was there in Wisconsin. And then the candidate that he backed lost by double digits. And it's because people see how much money he has. He's the richest man in the world, but they don't like or respect him. He hurt that candidate by being there and by doing those raffles. It would be like if someone came to you, and let's say in this scenario, you're working and you're doing all right, you're getting by, and maybe sometimes it's paycheck to paycheck, things get rough, right? But someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you just won the lottery. And you're like, what? I didn't even enter. Don't worry, we got you. What? How much did I win? $1 billion. Going from paycheck to paycheck to $1 billion. That's crazy. And you're like, there's gotta be a catch. I didn't enter any lottery. What do I have to do? And they're like, that's simple. You just have to hang out with Elon for the rest of your life. And at least based on what those people did in Wisconsin, they were like, you know what, actually, my job at McDonald's is perfect. I really like being customer facing. I like the rapport I have with my coworkers. Just keep that money and him away from me, please. Because he could not buy the race, because as much money, don't get me wrong, $1 million, ton of money. That's a ton of money. And people have done way worse for less, but at a certain point, people reach their breaking point. And they're like, no, I have enough respect for myself, I have enough respect for my community, for my state, to not just vote this way, just for some money from a guy who I know is a bad actor, you know? And once that happened, I knew it was probably up for Elon. Because he lost that race. He hurt that candidate by going there. And if there's one thing Donald Trump hates, is a loser. And you could see some of the shine wearing off of Elon. Because initially, when the administration started, they protected Elon heavy. Anybody said anything about him, anybody did anything, they were on it like that immediately. But then Elon started getting on people's nerves. You know, initially, when they won, somebody would ask a question, they'd shut it down to the media. Elon is a patriot. He's helping clear this government of waste, fraud, and abuse. You leave Elon alone. And then people started to rebel against Elon specifically through Tesla. Tesla's stock started plummeting. People stopped buying Teslas. And then people started vandalizing Teslas. They started blowing up Teslas. And then Pam Bondi came on the news and was like, if you vandalize a Tesla, we will find you. We will prosecute you. They were helping Elon a lot. Trump even turned the front of the White House into like a dealership for a day. And he had Elon there, right? They were doing their best to help Elon. But then, as you saw the months go by, they started mentioning him less. You started seeing them together less. You could tell this thing was waning. And then, how I know that they had stopped protecting him, his 130 days was up as the Doge, like, daddy or whatever. Like, I don't know what this job is. Like, depending on who you ask on what day, he's like an advisor, but he's the leader, but he's not involved. It's like, it's all very weird, but he can only do it for 130 days because as America, we only have like 3 laws left, and one of them is that you can't be in a made-up position for more than 130 days. And so it was like time. And so it was time for him to go, right? And it being time for him to go, he asked Trump if he could stay. And Trump was like, dang, man. No, we only have so many, like, bathrooms in here. Like, it wouldn't work, you know? I imagine Trump had the reaction that you would have if the worst person you know asked if they could live with you for a little while. Just like, oh, dang, my place just flooded just now. That's right when you asked me too. That's crazy. I know we're not there, but I can feel with my bed underwater. Like, it's just a thing I have. So you should probably find somewhere for both of us to stay, because I need somewhere to stay too. Find a place for both of us to stay and you just stay there. That would be great. And so Elon, shows up for his last day at work, and the president is in the Oval Office with him, honoring him, giving him a key to nowhere. And one of the ways I knew they had stopped protecting Elon is because there were like 2 publications that came out, one the day before he left Doge, one the day of, and both those publications, from like high caliber written journalism, basically said, headline contents were basically, did y'all know he was a crackhead? Like, he'd been a crackhead. That's crazy. Elon a full crackhead. I had no idea. They were listing the drugs he was doing. They're like, he does cocaine, he does mushrooms, some hallucinogens and everything, ketamine. Horses can't keep up with Elon. Like, he really out here a full crackhead. That's wild. And then, to prove the doubters, the detractors, what Elon would call the full-blown liars wrong, he showed up to the Oval Office for his last day of work, higher than his rockets go. This man was in the Oval Office standing next to the President of the United States, tweaking. This man was over here hitting the... He looked like he arguing 5 minutes into the future. It was wild to watch. This man over... could not stop moving. At one point, the only, like, you have to watch the video, but like, the only way I could describe it is he felt like a slow Michael Jackson, right? Like, just, he was just over here like, it was insane. This man next to the president cracking out, and Trump said nothing. And then he left, you know. He left, and I'll admit to you right now, I thought it was like a PR stunt. I really did. I thought that he was leaving, and then he'd just keep running Doge in the background, and this would take some of the heat off of him. Now you wouldn't think of him so directly. People wouldn't attack his businesses so hard, because in the time that he entered politics to present, he's lost somewhere around like $100 billion or something like that. And it's all like a valuation thing. It goes up and down, but you could see that at least the boards of the businesses that he was on are genuinely worried, even if he doesn't care. So I thought he was gonna leave politics for a little while, keep working in the shadows. Maybe the stock would go up a little bit, but nothing would really change. And it turns out that was not the case. He had really been getting on people's nerves. Like hard. And you saw it with Trump. They used to always, be talking about Elon, mention him, to not mentioning him at all. And then the people that Elon had to deal with, it wasn't really Trump as much as the actual cabinet, and they couldn't stand that dude. They hated that dude so much. And so he's really out. And you hear reports, now this stuff is all hearsay, I don't know if any of it is true, but apparently he was having shouting matches with Marco Rubio all the time. All of these cabinet people that Trump got in, Elon has had a spat with most of them, right? Scott Bessent, apparently him and Elon almost got in an actual fight. Scott Bessent doesn't look like he can fight. If you... If you don't know what Scott Bessent look or sound like, just imagine if like printer paper came to life. Like and Elon was truly out. He was out, and one thing really stuck out to me. It was the fact that Elon and Trump share a sort of lived experience where they're not used to hearing no and it's sticking. No is usually an inconvenience to a yes for them. They usually get their way. And so for Elon to be told no, and then he was actually sidelined, and then things that he wanted to happen weren't happening. He wanted some dude that he recommended to be the head of NASA. Trump said no. And then there were things that Elon didn't like because he felt like, apparently, they were undercutting all his work, like Trump's big, beautiful bill it's named the Big, Beautiful Bill because imagination. And Elon has hated that thing, I guess, for a while. Just the idea of it. It's almost universally despised. Democrats obviously hate it, and Republicans also hate it, but for different reasons. They don't care that it's like gutting, programs and whole agencies and that we're all gonna die. They don't like it because it raises the deficit anywhere from $3 to $5 trillion, right? And so takes about 4 or 5 days. And then Elon tweets. He's like, I can't stand it anymore. I cannot stand it anymore. This bill is a disgusting abomination. And everybody in the House that voted for it, you know you did wrong, right? And Trump said nothing. I was like, did he find God or something? Like what is happening? This is not the dude we know. He attacks those who attack him. And he's finally asked about it. He's asked about it in a press conference, and they tell him exactly what Elon said. He's like, I'm really disappointed with Elon. He knew the bill. He knew it better than some of the people that voted on it. He knew this bill, and he knew it was going to be cutting, his electric vehicle credits like that. Maybe that's what he's upset about. I have no idea. But in case you don't remember, I was very nice to him. That dude showed up with a black eye. I didn't say anything. Because he did. Elon showed up for his last day of work, high and with a black eye that Trump just fully let go. He didn't point at it, didn't motion to it, nothing. Was very chill about the black eye. And then, in the Oval Office, these are some of, not all, but some of the top journalists in America. Obviously, they have questions for Elon of what his plans are. Now that he's leaving Doge, he's going to spend all his time on his companies. They have plans to ask Trump questions about what he's going to do with Doge now that Elon is gone. What's the future of it, right? But these top journalists, the first question that I at least saw them ask was, what's wrong with your eye? Like, that's... Nobody gonna say nothing? Like, his eye. And then Elon was like, it's actually like a funny story. I asked my 5-year-old, my 5-year-old little ex, I told him to punch me. We were Ralph Hussein. I told him to punch me, and he punched me. I got a black eye. It was actually, he's strong for a 5-year-old. It's kind of funny. Elon said he had a black eye because his 5-year-old punched him. That's a crackhead story if I ever heard one. That is a full crackhead lie. You must have the most synthetic skin known to man if this 5-year-old is out here dodging and giving black eyes. And so Trump was like, look, maybe we'll go on to have a great relationship. Maybe we won't, because that's the thing. People come in here with us. They like being here. And then when it's time to go, they either embrace it or they lose their minds. You can tell who broke up with who by how people move after a breakup. You know what I mean? Because while Trump is talking, Elon is tweeting. He's tweeting, and it's a lot. This dude goes all the way back to Trump's old tweets from like 2013, 2015, where he's like, I can't believe what they're doing with the spending bill. This is such irresponsible spending. If you have this much of a deficit, you won't have a country. And he's going back and showing all these old tweets, and he's quote tweeting them like wise words. Once again, you can tell who broke up with who, because for you to scroll back to 2013, you hurt. You are mad. You know how much his thumbs must be exhausted. 2013 tweets. Trump was tweeting 272 times a day, and he made it all the way back to 2013, which means he read them all. He hurt. So he hitting up with the 2013 "this you" text, like, that's crazy. That was insane. And he keeps tweeting. He's getting madder and madder. I don't even know what's happening in the background, but he is tweeting himself down a tunnel because every time he tweets, Tesla stock drops by like $13 billion. It's just going down and down and down and down. And he's tweeting up a storm, right? He even tweets out, he's like, you wouldn't have won without me. Okay? If it hadn't been for me, Republicans wouldn't have won the House. The Dems would be in the House. The Dems would have the White House, and you'd have a slim majority in the Senate. You ungrateful. Keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting. Getting more and more upset. I don't know what's happening in the background, but this man is getting more and more pissed off. He even tweets, every single one of you Republican senators who votes for this bill will be voted out next term, all right? I will put money behind it, okay? He over here, honestly, Elon over here talking like he won the people or something. Like, I was like, what is happening right now? What do you mean, we, dog? Like, make me uncomfortable. But he says it, and then he said, oh, he's getting madder and madder and madder. And then he tweets out threatening Republicans specifically. He's like, look, here's the deal. Trump's gonna be the president for 3.5 more years. I'm gonna be around for 40. That must have sent chills down your spine if you were a Republican senator, any Congress. But Trump is going to be president for 3.5 more years. I'll be around for 40. You could hear the threat in it when you read it. Trump is going to be president 3.5 more years. I will be around for 40. And I was sitting in my room like, not on crack, like not on crack. Like that's not, you must not know what crack is. Like that's not nutritious at all. The crack is not good for you. You should not have crack. Be around for 40. All right. Oh, it's insane. And then Trump finally tweets. He's had enough. And you can tell he's had enough because we know the type of man Trump is. We know the type of figure he is, the type of president he is. He's had enough of this, and he's been holding back. He's been very nice to Elon. I'm sure in his head he was like, I've been very, very nice to this dude. Elon acts and moves like he snuck into a body. And Trump didn't say anything. Trump is over here like, I didn't mention the jumping, the laughing, anything. This man blew crack smoke on my shoulder, and I was very nice to him. And so then Trump tweets out, he's like, hey, yo, one of the easiest ways for us to save billions and billions and billions of dollars is just get rid of all of Musk's government contracts. That would do it quick. And then Democrats were like, do you mean it? Or like, are you just mad or do you mean it? All right, I was just asking. Okay. And then Elon tweets, Elon tweets this clip that is him and Trump in front of a Tesla in front of the White House, and the quote for the tweet just says, remember when? I was like, oh, he hurt. Oh, he must be sick right now. I've been broken up with most of my life, but I've never hit somebody with a remember when. So crazy. Remember when? And then Musk tweets again. He's like, hey, since Trump wants to threaten my government contracts, how about SpaceX just goes ahead and disassembles Dragon whatever ship right now? And that would be all well and good, except there are 4 astronauts in the International Space Station right now that are probably floating like, what did we do? Like that's, I'm not in this at all. Because they're mad, furious, going at each other, you know? And then I don't know what pulls the trigger, you know. Trump tweeted one more time, and it still felt very reserved. It felt very nice. He was like, look, I don't care if Elon turns against me. I want the big, beautiful bill passed. He could just deal with it. Let's get this legislation done, right? And then Elon tweets out, all right, time to drop the big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Have a nice day, DJT. You can tell who broke up with who, because the person that gets broken up with is the one that tries to ruin your life and tells you have a nice day in like the same breath. Oh, that's crazy. That's gonna be a hard one to dig yourself out of, because Epstein is like the burying ground. It is the conspiracy 101. Right? So many people had podcasts, had hours of content going over Epstein, talking about who might be involved, who's in the Epstein files, who's in the Epstein log, his little black book, all that stuff, going over and over and over it, getting people really feverish over it. And then some of those same people, because of who they are and because who they're connected to, they get in office. They get into government office through Trump, right? That was a mistake, because even the hardcore conspiracy theorists knew. When Elon tweeted that out, Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Almost right underneath is Alex Jones saying, God help us all. Elon done got Alex Jones pressed. Because where do you go from here truly, you know? Where do you go? Because those same people who were talking about, if they just let me in a room full of files, I'd find the Epstein files in 5 minutes. Just let me in the room. And now you're in the FBI. And so when people ask you, what's up? And you're like, actually, it's nothing. Like, don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Just go back to what you were doing. It's not. That does not sound real. I'm not saying anything else is even going on. I'm saying what you have stoked makes it impossible to stomp out. There will never be enough information coming out. There will never be enough stuff uncovered. There'll never be enough files released. You know, they tried initially. They tried. They were like, hey, we're releasing the Epstein file. They even made it like, you know, like a Fox News event. Epstein files coming out 9 p.m. tonight, right? And when they released it to a lot of these like blue check conspiracy theorists, Twitter influence. I don't even know what it's called, but they released it to them. And those people were on fire. Those people were pissed. Because when they actually opened it and they read it, because they meant it. These are true believers, by the way. These aren't people that are like part of the grift. They're reading it and they realize that everything in these things has already been released already. There's no new information in these things. In fact, they did such a bad job of trying to make it look real that they redacted stuff that was already public. And that was, for that conspiracy theory group, very weird. That was very, very weird, you know? And so that was already strike one. And now Elon's saying this, that's strike two. Because it's not like that's new information. We knew that Trump was involved with Epstein. There's literally video of them partying together and stuff like that, like on MSNBC from 1992. Like, that's not news or anything. But when you're a conspiracy theorist and nothing is enough, you know? And so then in the background, people are trying to chill this thing out. There are White House aides, there's Elon's assistants trying to get these two to mediate, not make it any worse than it is right now. You know? And as of the time I'm talking, there's a lot of stuff that Elon's taken down, like tweets that he took down. And even Trump is trying to be very nice to Elon. They asked him his first interview since all this happened. And he's like, look, I don't know. I'm just trying to run the country. I wish him well and everything. I don't know anything about his drug habit and him being a full-on crackhead. That's not any of my business, right? So publicly, he's putting on a very good face. He's trying to be very professional, very presidential. And apparently, rumor has it, privately, he is calling everybody he knows, like, you know you're a crackhead, right? Like, no, he blew the smoke right on my back. I had to get my suit cleaned. And look, I'm not saying that this is the end of either of them. I don't know if they'll reconcile. I don't think that's even possible. I just know it's the first time that I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of people, watching two people go at it like fight. Yo, Detroit, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. Are gonna get it in a way. I feel like sometimes when I'm traveling and I go to places where, especially when I go overseas, and there are places that are not as engaged or involved with American politics, that there's a sentiment of like, we're just watching the show, and y'all are like cast in the show, and so that it's very different to have a chat with you. Because I'll be very honest with you, it's been taking me a long time to distill the way I feel about what is happening in LA. Because what's happening in LA over the past couple weeks is it's insane to watch, because I have plenty of friends in LA, and I talk to them daily and everything, and I also watch the news. And not maybe since COVID have I seen such distant realities. Do you know what I mean? Like such like completely opposite ends of the spectrum, what is happening and what is said about what's happening. And okay, because if you're watching the news, everyone in LA is dead. They've been dead for a while. The military came, but they were too late. Everyone is, in fact, I think the military dead too. Like, it's really just a black hole of death that no one can stop, but somehow the reporters are reporting. And it is strange, because when they send the reporter out to cover what some people are even calling the riots in LA, the reporter, not every single one of them, I'll get to them, but the reporter is standing there while everybody else is standing there. And they're giving a very different report than what we can see behind them. A lot of people don't know this about me, but from the time that I was a child, because I grew up in Louisiana, my family and all the families around me were all affected by Hurricane Katrina. So I have very, very strong feelings about protecting journalists, protecting reporters, and not putting them out there with the weather. Because we see it. We see the weather, and I believe you every time. Whenever you say it's a hurricane, and I look outside, I'm like, that look hurricane-like. I don't then need you to send our local newscaster to hold on to a telephone pole while he tells us how bad it is. The way that these people will almost be horizontal reporting on the wind speed, it's like we don't need them as a visual test of what is happening right now. Everyone watching is inside. There's no one watching from outside like, seems like I should probably move from where I am now. No, I hate that. I hate when it's like weather is one of those things where I'm like, I don't know what the spin could be. Like to a certain degree, I understand when a journalist, when a newscaster feels the need to go. What this shows right now is how many of y'all don't put your phone on silent. Like, there's no... No, I know it is. That's crazy. Well, then I will be quick then. Yeah. Okay, real quick. Just for a quick second. What flash flood? Oh no, the parade. Y'all. Don't do that. It's his birthday. It's not my birthday. But a great example, like a flash flood, and they'll put the newscaster in the water, and he's like, well, what we can see here, John, is... It's another level of insane, because when it comes to the news and the weather, I don't know what the spin could be. There's a storm outside. No, it's not. Weather, as long as you're not talking about specifically climate change, is like the last bipartisan subject. It's like the last thing. There's no way that anyone hates, conservatives or liberals enough to see the rain and be like, but it's not. Like, that just doesn't happen. It's one of the last tethers to reality, and we make those newscasters go in it. These poor newscasters in Arizona look like they about to pass out. Half the reports they do talking about the heat. They got them over there, no shade. You can tell the budget of a newsroom by how they send the journalists out there, because sometimes they'll be out there and be like, blistering heat today in downtown Phoenix, temperatures reaching 111 degrees. Like, stop doing it, If it's hot, we can feel it, and when you tell us, we'll believe you, If it's a hurricane, this is one of the things that I have tried my best to be fair with, because you see people, and I really feel like this only happens here. There's no other country I know of where people proudly go out into the hurricane and like tap dance in the hurricane to show the rain that they're not scared. That's a distinctly American male thing to do, to be like, hey, ain't nobody scared of some water? Come and get me, and they're never seen again. I'm just saying, you don't really see that anywhere else. And I used to think that those were like the dumbest people in the world. But then, as I got older, I was like, you know what? Maybe they just watched the news. And they were like, he's standing out there, and he telling me not to go outside. It's too dangerous, but he outside. What, he think I'm a punk? If he can be outside, I'll be outside. I'll be outside all I want. And then they go outside, and then they're never seen again. But the thing with people covering LA and standing in front of whether it's LAPD or National Guard lined up and protesters a distance away lined up. It's a very different thing because now they're coloring it for you, but you can see behind them. And it's hard to know what to make of it. Because when I talk to my friends in LA, they're like, very chill. They're always chill, but like they're very chill in this specific instance. I called some of my friends because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not better than anybody. I fell for some of like the propaganda that was going on. I called some of my friends immediately because I don't know LA neighborhoods that well. And I live in New York where if something is happening, it is happening to everyone. Thoroughly happening to everyone right now, And so, okay, I'm digressing for a second, but just as an example, one time there was all I can describe it as is like a tiny tornado of trash. It literally was not taller than this mic stand, but it was spinning because it was a windy day out and the trash wanted to be together, I guess. And so the trash spinning. And it's like, I don't know, I grew up like, deep south and everything. So whenever I see one of those, I'm like, ooh, that's a bad spirit. Like that's I get real superstitious real quick. If you a tiny tornado, if you an eye level tornado, I don't come near you, all right? That's a bad spirit. You got Dorito bags in you and everything. You got all types of disgusting stuff. No, I might get possessed. And so I was keeping my distance, but there were other people walking down the street. I actually crossed the street because I saw it up ahead. I was like, nah, I don't need those problems. Like, I like having my whole body, mind, and soul. I don't want some of it to be like Derek from 81st. You know what I mean? Like, that feel like who would possess you? Just somebody who like never had a job and burps as loud as possible. And so I crossed the street, but there were other people that were walking next to me that kept going, and they walked right into it. And even though I was across the street, I knew when they walked into it because my back was turned, and I still heard. I'm like, not walking into a tide tornado with your mouth open. That's just irresponsible. And sure enough, that tide tornado got like 8 people. Just being itself. If something happens in New York, it's happening to everybody. If one train is down, the city stops. We get around it, people get mad, they get off the train, they run to work, they hop on a bike or whatever, they take a cab, but like one thing happens, it has a ripple effect. LA doesn't seem like that to me. Like I've been in different parts of LA and I thought all of it was like one thing. I couldn't have been more wrong. And so I was calling my friends as I was freaking out because I was seeing the stuff that was happening. Waymos. You know the driverless car that shouldn't exist? You know that thing that's just on the road and we all act like it's normal, but we're slowly acting out the plot of iRobot currently? You know that thing. Those were on fire. There were Waymos on fire. So I called my friends like, you not in a Waymo, are you? Oh, if you in a Waymo, get out right now. Because to be fair, we didn't really even know why the Waymos were on fire. Maybe there were people setting the Waymos on fire, but maybe the Waymos saw all the unrest and they were like, this is our time. One time I was with my friend in San Francisco and a Waymo passed by and he was admittedly very high. But he doesn't trust Waymos because the first time he ever took a Waymo was by accident because he lost his wallet, his phone, like he got all his stuff stolen, right? And so he asked a friend to get him a ride home, okay? So he gets the friend to get him a ride home. He doesn't know that friend used the app Waymo instead of like Uber or whatever. So then he's high in the story too. He's actually high all the time, but he gets into the car and he's like, you know, a little fade, a little drunk, a little high. And then he gets in the car and then the car takes off. And so the way he told the story, I wasn't there. The way he told the story is finally he asked, you know, for a little music. He's like, dang, it's quiet in here, dog. Can you turn something on? And he half nodding off anyway, but he's like, can you turn something on? It's quiet in here, dog. Like, let's get it popping, you know. Can I get some? It doesn't matter what it is, whatever you like, dog. Anything. Yo, I know you hear me talking to you. And then he said he leaned forward. This is how he tells the story. He leaned forward and saw nobody was in there, and then he started praying because he was like, "No, you know what? You know what? You know what, Lord? You know I haven't been right. I haven't been right. And if you see me through this, I swear I'm gonna change my ways. If you see me through this right now, if you deliver me through, I'm gonna leave the alcohol alone. I'm gonna leave the weeds. He gets home, he sees his house, he's like, thank you, Lord, thank you. And obviously he was lying because he was high when he was next to me. But a Waymo passed by and he was like, that thing right there, nobody gonna believe me when I tell you, but that thing right there, I don't trust those things, all right? Let me tell you something right now. That thing over there, all AI, all self-driving, intelligence stuff, don't trust that thing. Believe me, that's a transformer. Look, all I'm saying, if I wanted to act out the plot of one of the Transformer movies, what would I do? I come down to earth as a bunch of driverless cars, keep it easy for a little while, and then one day, boom. Don't get in there. Don't get in one of them. You're going to end up in its chest. I'm telling you right now. And so I called so many of my friends. I was like, hey, are you okay? Are you good? And they were like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And they said they were fine with the annoyance of like, they said that they were fine with the annoyance that I have when my mom calls me to ask me if I'm okay. She saw that there was a storm in New York, and I'm like, no, it was just a bunch of trash. Spin in a circle. It's not that serious. You worry too much. No, they were genuinely like, no, that's actually here. And they started explaining LA neighborhoods to me, and I'm not gonna lie, I glazed over. Like I just. But once I knew that they were safe and that everyone I knew was safe, I was like, well, then where is this happening? I know a lot of people in LA. I've called a lot of people. Everybody is fine. Where is this happening? It turns out it's all happening over like, I think 2 square blocks. I don't even know. It's like, it's such a small area. It might as well be a movie set. And it's crazy because if you listen to, you know, Fox News, some of these outlets, you would think that the entire city was burning right now. There are people sharing stories on Facebook, and the entire place is devastated. And the president said, if I didn't send the National Guard, they'd be in shambles right now. But then when you look at video, and I'm not talking about video from protesters, I'm not talking about video of bystanders of the protest. I'm talking about video of people in Los Angeles 2 blocks away from the protest. There are people literally blowing bubbles. And there is no opposite to your city being on fire than bubbles. Bubbles
Bubbles are like a truly first world problem. Like, and they weren't even blowing bubbles regular. They were over here like, once you do it with your foot in the air, that's too much whimsy for your city to be on fire. Not blowing bubbles like, blah, blah, blah. Look at that, that's so cool. I'm talking about, And it is difficult when it's presented in front of you so heavily, an agenda with reporting versus just saying what happened. I didn't even know you could do that, by the way. It wasn't until I left the country and watched the news in other countries that you can just say what happened. Like when you watch the news in Spain, they don't even put a spin on it. They're just like, yeah, right there. They don't even try. This is what's crazy, is that the news around the world, they don't even try to be entertaining. They give it to you so straight, they don't even have good voices half the time. Sometimes there's a guy being like, yes, 2 people were found in the basement, and they said that they were trapped there by the man who lived there. Very dry, nothing. They're not putting on 2 people found dead. Like, it's... That's my favorite, by the way. I love when an anchor is like going out of a fun story to a sad story, but either they didn't get the stack of reports ahead of time, or they're just reading the prompter in real time, so they don't know that they need to do the tone shift, and so they just finish like promoting a shelter that has saved like 67 puppies or something. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that sweet? I mean, you just love to see stuff like that, don't you? Anyway, 15 burned to death in a fire. Oh. And then you see in their eyes that they're like, I already started high. I started up here if I drop it. And sometimes they try to drop it. They're like, found dead this morning. Don't act like you weren't talking the whole time. That was you the whole time. But you even see it in LA, because the misconception people have is that the thing that initially happened in LA versus like protesters and ICE and everything was like all over LA, was just all happening at one time, when actually it's around these very few square blocks. That's where all of it's like going down. You know, I'm not saying there weren't protests in other places, but those protests went on without incident. It's here. This is like the main sticking point. And this is what they keep shooting footage of over and over and over again, and showing you over and over and over again from different angles, right? And they're so thirsty for it that there was one dude that had a Mexican flag, was on a smashed up car, and you can see when you look at the picture that there are like 15 cameras surrounding the car looking up at him, and then everyone protesting is like a block down with nobody there. You know, because they're selling you a story. They're selling you a story about chaos that's unfolding and everything. And they even, you know, will have the newscaster out there. This journalist is out there. And I have a lot of respect for journalists. They do an incredibly difficult job, and they have to do it under constraints that some of us can't understand. Because if you worked your entire life to try to get to the truth, and then you finally get a job, maybe it's not even a well-paying job, and you're allowed to tell the truth until like your newspaper gets bought. And then it gets bought by a guy that's like, the truth though. I mean, what is truth really? Just say whatever I tell you to say. But it is a difficult thing to distill for yourself, because you have to. You can't just, I'm not saying that there was ever some golden age where all of media was honest and forthright. I'm just saying that it used to be a little bit more simple. That you were even overdoing it if you checked, 3 sources to see if something was true. Because there are things that used to be delivered with a little bit less. You still have the bias of the outlet, but it was a little less political at all times, and there was a little less looking for the bleed. Here's what happened, and I said it in a sexy voice. That used to be American news. You know? And now we've slowly become this more and more and more like corporate warped version of trying to do the news. News became entertainment. It became a show. And you know there's a show, you know it's entertainment because they're not delivering you the news out of the kindness of their hearts. I'm not saying that the journalists that are doing the news aren't dedicated. I'm saying that the body, the system and the machine that we look to for reporting is just, they're trying to sell razors in between every disaster. Like that should tell you something, you know? Because you see the report, and you see people, chaos in the streets in LA. Look at everything that's happening. And then you like talk to someone who's in LA, or you even just look at an Instagram story that your friend made on a random day who's not that far from the protest. And you're like, I don't know, they are loading up their car with Trader Joe's. Like that doesn't feel apocalyptic at all. Like if you can get the sliced mango from Trader Joe's, I think the supply chain is intact. That's one of the first things to go. We don't even have mangoes like that. Oh, news says absolute chaos. And then you look at somebody's, just like legit, somebody's like TikTok that they're making. Not even about the protest, just that they're making. You know they live in LA. And while they're making this protest, while supposedly the city is on fire, they're finding parking. That's not supposed to happen ever. And one thing that can't be lost on us when we think about or talk about Donald Trump is the only thing that he's ever been successful in is reality TV. We don't know him from the steaks. We don't know him from the casinos. We don't know him from the vodka or the water, which was probably vodka. We don't know him from anything except truly reality TV. Even in real estate, it's like, okay, it's like a name, but I don't know anyone who ever lived on one of those properties. You know, it's the TV. He figured it out. He figured out reality TV, and he's still doing reality TV. He's just doing it as the president. The mix of reality and TV is a different cocktail for every show. You know, there are shows that are 10% reality and 90% TV, where if you took away the TV element, none of these things would happen. These people wouldn't know each other. And then there's some that are 50-50. Like, I feel like Love Island is 50-50. You know what I mean? Love Island to me is, because look, even if there was no show, these are the people who would be hooking up with these people. Like this is, every time you watch a cast introduced of Love Island, you're like, that seems right. Like this, that's who everyone goes for that's in that group anyway. They all seem happy. There's never like a guy in Love Island that's like, so ladies. Just floating like an NPC. Like, it's always somebody with like 9 abs. And you're like, how do you get the extra? When he's standing up, when he's sitting down, it's very defined. You know, it's shows that are even mostly reality with a little hint of TV, just a little bit of producing to make sure it's polished enough for the people so that they can consume it and not be thinking about how they're on like a 5th episode of it, you know? And that's where Trump comes from. He comes from reality TV. It's the only thing that he's ever been really, really good at making, and that's what he's doing right now, reality TV instead of governing. Because if he were governing and he really wanted to be smart about it, this dude would do what he does best. He'd just lie. Think about this. This man lies about everything. And this immigration thing is the only thing he's like actually tried to do. It's very weird. Like, I just, it's a long walk, but stick with me for a second. As presidents go, most deportations have been going down. They were, I think, at least in recent memory, they were the last highest under Obama, but Obama did them all through the courts and everything. It wasn't just like a rounding up type of thing. And so then Biden had less, Trump even had less in his first term than Obama. And then now, Trump, right now, even with the show, has less than he had the first time. And it's weird to me because in the campaign, we were promised that there were millions. There were millions of illegal immigrant criminals. They were behind you. Have you checked your pants? They're in there too. They're under your bed. They're everywhere. You can't throw a constitution without hitting an illegal criminal alien. We were told that there were millions of them in the country. Yet somehow, when ICE really starts ramping up, because we're really doing this thing, it takes like a week before they were like, have you tried a school? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I can't find any. That's crazy. We got a couple that first week, but yeah, I guess there were only like 3,500 or whatever. I guess we're just gonna have to start going everywhere, and that's what they did. That's why it is the way it is, because ICE is over here trying to do these deportations, trying to grab people and everything, but I thought there were millions of illegal criminal aliens. Why are you finding them all at work? Like, I just had no idea that my local taco spot was specifically MS-13 tacos. I had no idea that Tra de la Ringa, the gang I can't pronounce, I had no idea that that's who was like folding the clothes at Kohl's. Like, that's... Because that's what you've been led to believe. Every arrest is warranted. ICE is trying to do their job. All of this mandated makes sense. That's what you've been told. And the thing is, you need to make a show out of it, because even with all the chaos, even with all the footage, it's still less. That's crazy. Even with you going around the court, it's less. That's wild. That it's still less, even with all of this show going on. Because what isn't a show, what's actually reality, is that people are being ripped away from their families. And these are hardworking people. These are people that have been here for a long time. These are a lot of people who are actually trying to do the right thing as hard as they possibly can. But the system is slow and it's imperfect. And then they get arrested by ICE at the courthouse for their hearing. And all of this when Trump could have just lied. He could have just been like, yeah, I did it. Who would say he didn't? All of his fans would be like, he did it. He said he was going to do it, and he did. I don't even know when he did. That was so fast. Damn. Even Democrats would be like, yay, you did it. Like, the one time he doesn't lie. And so you have this ICE operation happening on these square blocks, these protesters clashing with ICE. ICE doesn't feel safe. They don't feel like they can make movements and everything. And so then, the LAPD comes, and maybe the LAPD was there the entire time, I don't know, but the LAPD is there, and Trump sends in the National Guard. Now, he can't send in the National Guard just to arrest people and crack skulls and everything like that. So what he does, he tries to get around it by deploying the National Guard just to protect these two buildings. But then they're there in case ICE feels like they need their help detaining someone or that they aren't able to carry out their operations, right? So dangerous precedent, but whatever. So then Trump wants to send in the National Guard, which everybody, not every single person, but most people were upset about, because the LAPD, in case you're not aware, from TV, from movies, or just from history, historically loves to whoop ass. That is their favorite thing. The LAPD can't stop whooping ass. They love, it's their number one. And so when the LAPD found out the National Guard was coming, I know they were probably like, but I didn't even get to. No, go ahead, send him. Yeah. No, you know what's best, send him in. No, you wanna do it. And then the National Guard comes, and there's not a ton for them to do, because it's like 2 square blocks. No matter how many times they keep showing you the same footage over and over and over again of these things burning, of this like 3 stores that got looted. They show you the same thing over and over, but it's just not happening that way. And it's not that spread out. People are finding parking in Los Angeles. And so the National Guard gets there, and they're like, all right, okay. All right, so there's nothing to do, and you deployed us without making sure we had a place to sleep. So then they're all on the floor. They're sleeping on the concrete with nothing to do, and everybody's mad now because National Guard isn't getting paid what the LAPD is getting paid, so now the LAPD can't whoop ass. National Guard here for no reason. And then Trump is like, send the Marines then. I know if you're in the LAPD, you're like, the Marines? National Guard had to be like, the Marines? Even the Marines had to be like, the Marines? And then LAPD just sitting there like, I just want... Is whooping a little ass too much to ask? But I know that it's very, very, very important to understand what's reality and what's TV, and not to confuse the two. And the way to combat reality TV being everywhere all the time is real connection with real people. I was able to call people or text people who were in LA that told me, no, I mean, there was parking at Trader Joe's. Everything actually pretty chill. And without that, I might honestly be like, I don't know, y'all. There were 3 Waymos on fire. I took it as a lesson. And I would hope that more people see the things that were happening in LA and make sure that outside of any news outlet you follow, outside of any narrative that you make the choice to believe, because there are so many varying narratives for every event that you do have to make choices, that above all of those things, you will talk to people. Because talking to people is the real perspective that you need. When you talk to someone who's really going through the thing, no matter what it is, no matter what it is, even bigger than LA, even bigger than the protests, when you talk to someone, you finally get from their perspective right to the root of an issue, as opposed to whoever's talking over them. Oh, and I think that for me, talking to my friends, making sure that they were safe, let me know that this thing was not what it was being made out to be. Don't get me wrong. I think that something was starting in LA, and I think that thing is scary. I think that there's a push to make authoritarian moves and to see how far things can be bent and how much people can be pushed and pulled before they'll do anything about it. And I think that LA was a perfect test for that. Let's take something that's really just 2 blocks and let's make it look like it's the entire city, and we'll see if they believe us. Let's send in all the cops we have, then the National Guard, then the Marines, and see how much people want that, if they go for it or not. So something is happening, and I would encourage every single one of you to hold on to everyone that you know. DC is one of those places where everybody is from everywhere, and everyone knows everyone everywhere else. And if you keep that type of global community together, you'll have no problem in my opinion at least, distinguishing what's happening from what's not. Because you'll have people that you can talk to, people that are really going through the thing in real time. I'm not saying don't watch the news at all. Sometimes they have newscasters on there who they put in the hurricane. It's very entertaining. Yo, DC, y'all been fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
When I